Has a music teacher ever told you to practice until you get it right?
Well, I'm going to show you with this video today why that is completely wrong.
Let's say you're practicing that really famous opening to The Swan. And it's not going so well because you keep missing that first shift. Let's imagine that every time you play that first shift incorrectly, you are creating a member of a zombie army. This is where we get into trouble. Every time we play it wrong, we make another member of the zombie army. Until finally, we might play it right once.
Sadly, this is not going to be enough to save you. When you go to play that shift again in the piece, guess which one is most likely going to be the one that you play? Probability says it's going to be one of those members of the zombie army. I like to think about it like this. When I play a concert, all those repetitions, like little soldiers, get together and duke it out in a big battle of good versus evil. The biggest army always wins. This makes practice much more exciting for me. So, how can you ensure that you are minimizing the amount of members in the zombie army and maximizing the knights in shining armor, the repetitions that are actually accurate? I think the best way to go about doing this is utilizing slash practice. S-L-A-S-H. The first letter, S, is for stop. Do not keep playing. Do not pass go. The second step, L, stands for look and listen. You're really simply just trying to observe the problem. What is going on here? If you have to go back and play it slowly again to figure out what your hand is doing, then do it. Just don't repeat it a bunch. A stands for ask. Ask yourself what's really going on there. The next S is for specific. You've got to be specific. You can't just say, I'm out of tune. You have to say, oh, I'm not going far enough for that note, or I'm going too far, or my shift is too big, or the note is sharp, or the note is flat. There's no way you can fix anything if you aren't giving specific instructions to your body. The H stands for handle it. We're gonna go into this more in a second, but you're usually going to handle it by repeating the correct thing over and over to make a bunch of members of the good army. The best way to handle any problem is to maximize your practice time. You need the most repetitions, i.e. members of the good army, in the shortest amount of time. The best way to do this is to narrow your scope. So for instance, in our example, the Swan, we would narrow our scope to only the note before the shift and the note after the shift. Then we would make sure that we practice that shift, the first note and the last note, backwards and forwards. That way you don't have to reset anything and you practice that distance twice as much. The last component that you need is that you practice it very slowly, loudly, and smoothly. This is going to ensure that your body learns it correctly, and not only correctly, but as robustly as possible so that it doesn't learn it in kind of a timid way.
So your practice is going to sound repetitive and slurpy, but this is the best way to ensure that you make probability work for you. Don't practice until you get it right. Practice until it's improbable for you to get it wrong.